Hi everyone, it's LaShonda from Labors of Love with another Therapy Thursday video. So today I want to talk about getting along in quarantine. By this point, there are many states across the nation who are issuing stay-at-home orders. And really what that means is that unless you are deemed essential, the work that you do outside of the home, being essential employees, then everyone else is encouraged to stay home as much as possible in an effort to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. And so we find ourselves in a very new temporary normal. People who worked outside of the home, most are finding themselves having to work from home. But it's not just the shift from learning to work at home, it's learning to work at home while being at home with so many other people who are not normally there during the times when you're working. This could be your significant other, or a spouse who is now home, maybe both of you trying to figure out how to work from home. It more than likely means that your children, who are very often away at school, if you're not homeschooling, are now home. Even if you are a homeschooler, chances are maybe one parent was a homeschooler and another parent was outside of the home. It doesn't matter, whatever your dynamic is, chances are that it's very, very different right now. And so I wanted to offer some encouragement by saying, one, please receive my love, my good vibes, my hugs, my light, my love. I'm sending it out all across the country because it is so needed right now. And I also want to encourage people not to make significantly rash, very big decisions during this time. And some of those decisions are, this might not be the time to file for divorce. And while I say that semi-lightly and kind of joking, because I think we need dopamine through laughter, I want to say that if you do not spend a significant amount of time with your spouse, chances are you may be finding that very difficult right now. And I want to acknowledge that that doesn't mean you don't love each other, and that you don't care for each other, or that you were not the right people, that you should have never gotten married. I'm also not saying that in some cases that's not it. I am saying that these changing dynamics can put us in a space of everything from resentment to rage and everything in between, because not only is it new and is it different, but we were not prepared for this. There wasn't a whole lot of time to get mentally prepared for the shifts that have recently taken place. As things began to happen, things without our permission just kind of happened very quickly. And as we were trying to transition one thing, we learned that other things were happening. So maybe you were trying to figure out how to temporarily provide education for your children at home for a few weeks, only to find out you would have to work from home, only to find out they may not be going back to school. So it's a lot. And during this time, when people are in close proximity, we start thinking, maybe this is not the relationship that's for me. Oh my goodness, maybe, why am I a parent? I should have just never been a parent. Why do I agree to raise me, right? We have all of these thoughts. And so first, I want to normalize it. And I want to say you're not alone. But I do want to offer a few tips that I hope would be helpful for people to consider implementing to maybe help with this. The first thing I want to say is, while everything is chaotic, structure can help. Whether you live alone and it's just you, or whether you have a house full of people because you're all required to stay home, while we don't have to be strict and rigid and regimented in this structure, I think it's very helpful if the entire house knows when meal times are going to be, when play times are going to be, when work times are going to be. And having that routine, that's something that happens on a daily basis. Routine provides a sense of safety for us all. Now, I encourage you, again, not to get so rigid with the routine that when you don't adhere to it, or someone violates that routine, that you feel you have to, put your foot down and be punishing. But it just helps to feel more safe when people know what's coming next. In a time when we have no idea what is going to be said literally in the next hour about where we find ourselves, having things that we can maintain as structure can be helpful. Another suggestion that I have, to the best of your ability, which is not always easy, is making sure that everyone has their own space. If you have multiple children who share a room, and I can totally see how this could be challenging. But if you can begin to be creative, creativity is key here. How can we start to designate who has what space? If there's a common area, who gets that space for a certain amount of time where they can do whatever they want in it? Sometimes when you are forced to be with people all the time, the thought of never being able to be alone could be triggering. And so if you have a space, even if it's the bathroom, right? Not like for emergency, you can't use the bathroom, it's my turn, but maybe it's to soak in a hot bath or to take a shower or to do something that's calming and relaxing. It may be helpful for everyone in the home to know where their designated areas are and how they can go to that area when they need a respite from the family time. I think another thing that could be tremendously helpful are group relaxation activities. Whether that means a couple of times a day, everyone in the house for 5 minutes just takes a moment of quiet. Everyone doesn't necessarily have to be doing the same thing, but maybe you use a YouTube video and go through a grounding or deep breathing exercise. Through my son's school, they use Class Dojo, and there was I don't even remember what it's called, but we watched it and we laid on the ground and we did deep belly breaths and we did it together. So you are in this together, but you're also calming your central nervous system. Chances are everyone in the home is feeling some level of anxiety and dis-ease right now. And by jumping at each other's throats because you're not responding the way you think they should might not be helpful. So I'm hoping that if you can try those three things, a structure that everyone knows what's coming next, being able to have designated spaces that belong to people, and having some group relaxation activities that may help. Finally, I just want to offer you that essentially what disappointment is when what is happening in real life does not measure up to the story we made in our heads about what it should be. Right now, tons of us are experiencing disappointment because there was no way we could have predicted what right now looks like. And so I just want to share that we are literally all in this together. And I hope that you find some peace knowing that there are things you can do to hopefully reduce the distress. If you want to reach out to me, you have questions or need suggestions, you can reach me at www.thelaborsoflove.com on all the social media outlets. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, or go to YouTube and subscribe. And don't forget our podcast, the Labors of Love podcast. Until we connect again, be well.